welcome back to my channel. Alice here. Today I'm going to be doing a speed paint of a drawing I did of Meg from Hercules. I love Meg. She's so awesome. She's just so sassy and she's got red hair and she's just, I like Meg. I think Meg's cool, so I wanted to do her. And this is actually going to be a pretty interesting video because I made a couple mistakes, like pretty big mistakes that kind of almost ruined the picture, and I was able to kind of finish it and keep going and work through those. So you know, it's kind of cool. You don't have to, like, if you make a really big mistake, you don't have to, it's not like the end of the world. So yeah, so a little bit about the picture. It's a mixed media painting. I did everything in watercolor to start with, and then I added Copic markers and Prismacolor color pencils later, kind of over the top of everything, so that was pretty cool. I inked it in a Prismacolor color pencil instead of using like a marker or a pen because I wanted kind of a softer look. So I had the drawing inked in a dark brown Prismacolor, and right now I'm going in with my Mary watercolors. No, not Mary, my Schminke Watercolors, and just like getting in some base colors and tones and everything like that. When I paint in watercolor, I almost always start with a shadow base, like a purple shadow base, especially for the skin tone. I don't always do it on everything else, but for the skin tone I like to have that base in, and then I get the skin over the top of it, and it just helps me establish lighting, and just gives me a good base to go off of, and most of it gets covered up anyway, but it's just how I like to start. Let's see, what else? I'm just painting, there's my head. This was a really fun drawing to do. I really am decently happy with how it turned out, and it's just really fun to experiment and paint, and I don't know, it was cool. I liked it, and I have been wanting to do a watercolor kind of piece to get up on my channel for a while now, just because, you know, like I love Copics, but I'm also a watercolor artist, and I'm better at watercolor and I'm more experienced with watercolor, so I really did want to get something up there. As you can see, I kind of have this little rag in my left hand, and I have that there constantly, and I use it to kind of dab at the paint to dry it up and to pick up any excess paint. You'll see me use that a lot just to like clean up any areas. Just working on her hair right now. She has like a dark auburn hair, so I was kind of mixing some purple shadows and then getting some brighter reds in there. I really wanted there to be kind of like a purple glowing effect, not glowing effect, but I wanted the shadows to have a lot of purple in them, and I wanted the environment that she was in to really be reflecting on her, which you see I kind of do later with the color pencils and everything. When I was editing this, I was like, I'm gonna slow down the video a little bit, give myself a little bit of extra time to talk, because I always feel like I run out of stuff, like I run out of time in the narration, and now it's like, it's 3 minutes and 40 seconds in, and I don't have anything else to say. So I guess that's all I have to say about the picture right now. How are you? How's life going? My life's pretty good. I got my wisdom teeth removed, so that sucked. And I have dry socket in one of my sockets. Well, it's like minor dry socket, and they said it would heal by itself. And then I got more pain and went back, and they were like, oh yeah, it's not the dry socket that's causing you pain now, like that's fine. It's like this bone, and it's pushing through your skin, and it like wants to painful you. And I was like, okay, great, well, what can you do about it? And they were like, well, you need to wait and see what happens, like see if the bone comes through, and see if the bone doesn't come through. And I was just like, cool, I can't eat. I like eating. As you can see, now I'm going in with the Copic markers. This was interesting. I've never ever used Copic markers with watercolor before. I've used Prismacolors in watercolor before. Prismacolor pencils, not Prismacolor markers. And right about this time was the time that I'm ruining this drawing. And I just started kind of freaking out because the skin tone Copic markers were so much more saturated than the colors that I use watercoloring, because I usually watercolor realistically, so I tend to like to use very muted colors, and the Copic ones were so saturated it just really didn't work, and I was like, how am I gonna fix this? What do I need to do? So I was like, I'll just keep going, and you know, it'll blend eventually, and it wasn't really blending, and then this is about the point where I made a really big mistake. Yeah, that was fun. So I put these Copic markers on, and I was like trying to blend them, and I didn't let it dry quickly enough. Like, I didn't let it dry for long enough before I put watercolor over the top of it, and it soaked in. But I figured I would just let it dry, and then I decided I was gonna let it dry, and in the meantime I was gonna start putting in Prismacolor colored pencils, because the great thing about colored pencils is they can really they work really well with watercolors. I freaking love using colored pencils over watercolors. They add a really nice texture, and they're really great for creating nice transitions and doing defining marks, and also like adding highlights. Traditionally, when you use watercolors, you should leave the white of the paper as your highlights, but sometimes when I'm working with mixed media, I actually prefer to go in and add my highlights with colored pencils. It creates a kind of interesting chalky build-up look that I kind of like, so that's what I actually did with this one, especially when people have darker hair. I don't want it to get too light, and so it's easier for me to add small highlights later than to try to leave the paper. I don't know. I mean, I can do it, but I just also like the way this looks. So as you can see, I'm now going in with some colored pencils, trying to fix some of the mistakes that I made. The kind of crazy wet spot on her chest has calmed down a little bit, so that's good. Just adding some highlights with my colored pencils. I really like using both a white colored pencil and a white jelly roll for highlights. Reason being is the white colored pencil can be used to add really nice soft highlights, and it's really good for backlighting that's you want like defined but not crazy harsh. Like, I love jelly rolls, but they are very harsh, and I usually actually paint over my jelly rolls with watercolors to soften them down a little bit, and you'll see me do that later on in the video. So I'm just kind of making the background more vibrant, because I added a lot of this background kind of lighting, and I wanted the watercolor background to reflect that, because you can see this pink reflecting onto her back and her hair and stuff like that. So I really wanted the background to be nice and bright, and her to be bathed in this warm pink light. So now I'm just kind of going in with a black colored pencil, and I'm defining the lines around her. Not all of them, but a good portion of them, especially in the darker areas, because most of those lines got kind of hidden or covered up, especially because it was darker brown. So I have the dark, hello head, I have the dark brown in some of the areas where the light is shining more, and then in the shadowy areas or areas that really need defining, I go in with the black. And my head is pretty much going to obscure the entire frame over the next 30 seconds or so, because I had to get really, like, it was just kind of an awkward angle, and I needed to actually be able to see what I was doing, so I just was like, I had to stick my head in front of the camera. I'm sorry you guys. I'm used to turning my paper a lot when I draw, and I decided to tape the paper to to my board so that it didn't move for you guys, and it was kind of throwing me off. So I'm just adding some speckles in the background to kind of add some more interest. And I am too lazy to mask my image when I do these speckles. I just kind of cover it with my hand and then dot off anything that hits it. But I'm going in with my white jelly roll to add in those last final highlights, and this is where I'm going to add highlights to her hair as well. If you notice, I didn't add those with the colored pencil, and that's because for the highlights for her hair, I find the colored pencil can get really muddy on the dark brown, so I went with the jelly roll for her hair, just because I want her hair to have crisper highlights than everything else, because hair is made of individual strands and they catch the light. And yeah, so we're almost done. Just got to add in those highlights, and then you'll see I'm adding some extra strands of hair just for some more interest. And I'm going to go back over with some paint, and this will tone down some of those highlights so they're not quite as harsh and they blend in a little bit more with the picture. So that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video. I hope that you're having a great day, and also thank you guys so much. I have hit 500 subscribers, which is just blowing my mind. Like, what? I can't even. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!